the Cuckoo's podcast. My name is Charlie Koo, and I am your host. And for this month of March, our guest is pastor and church planter, uh, and I want to say missionary, Daniel Kim. Please welcome him. Before we go into the fun, and I mean it's gonna be fun interview because Pastor Daniel came in to Tongshin Church after shortly after I left. There was an interim guy, Jonathan Lee, who stood in to do the Sunday services, but afterwards he came in and he had keeping that place very warm and on fire for about 6+ years. And then he went on to plant his own church. So I wanted to ask a little bit more, but before we go into that, we want to pay tribute and honor to your father who passed away. When did your father pass away?
Yeah, a little over 5 years now. November. He passed away in November. So yeah, about 5 years and like 2 months.
2017?
Wow. It seems like it was 2016 or 17, was it?
Okay.
Wow.
I was in Arizona at the time.
Yeah.
I heard about the news and we're all pretty shocked because we had no idea that he had health issues. Did you know he had health issues?
Well, yeah, like about 5-6 years before he passed away, he did have like a, what do you call it? Like a, cardiac arrest, right? Or like a heart attack, basically. And he was rushed to the ER and he survived actually that time. So, he did have kind of that heart issue.
Okay.
But this time he was traveling to Africa and India, and he got malaria, and
wow.
Yeah, while he was on the trip. So he got malaria when he was in Africa, and then he, kind of pushed forward, being
missionary,
him, right?
Yeah.
There's people there, I'll be okay. He went over to India, but his fever just wouldn't drop, and so he went to a what do you call it? Like a clinic, but it's in the bushes, it's a very ghetto facility and everything. He gets a shot to bring his fever down, and he has a bad reaction from the shot. And so he, passed away right there within.
Oh my gosh. It was during the tour of duty while he was serving.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, there's like a whole group, I think a few hundred waiting, for the conference, and he was supposed to minister to them. And yeah, so it's kind of a shocker.
So for those we will probably not know, but in the Korean church circles, Kim Seoksoo 선교사님, missionary, his father was well known because of his work among the Philippines. And I'm reminded that he was also very busy working with the people of Africa. Mm-hmm. How long has he been doing the missionary ministry?
Yeah, he started early 90s. So
wow.
At this point, it's about, probably 30+ years now.
Wow.
He passed away about 25-ish years, 26, 7 years, something like that.
I had the pleasure of hearing him speak at least on 2 different occasions when I was serving at Tongshin Church. So okay. I was blessed. Yeah. Yeah. Just recently, you had a commissioning service for the Well Church in Orange County. At the time it was in Yorba Linda, and I just got to tell you, it was a very powerful ceremony. You had a speaker. Your speaker was one of your friend pastors that has a ministry in LA.
Yes,
working with the Latino, Hispanic congregation out there in LA. Korean guy. Yeah, and from what I could hear, English was not even his first language. It was like he came when he was much older, and right.
Yeah. I think he came when he was in elementary or something like that.
Okay. Yeah, and then like so what I really wanted to get at was like it was a very it was a moving ceremony because Pastor Beck from Tongshin Church like kind of sent you almost,
Yeah.
you know, along with the team to start this church, and there was a very heartfelt embrace, and I was really choked up because this is not the pattern that we see in a lot of Korean American churches. There's always some weird tension between the first and second gen.
Yeah.
So I would like to hear a little bit more about, I don't know, your insights on this issue.
Yeah.
Again, like if it's like if it ends up being damaging, I'm gonna go and cut it out. So
if I say anything off,
you have editorial control. So we're gonna talk, we're gonna laugh, and then go, oh, that wasn't too far. It was like a line right there. We crossed twice. So we're gonna.
That's so funny.
So. But I mean, judging by how much fun we're having, maybe we should just keep that in there. All that stuff.
Oh boy. Yeah, you know.
Wait, actually, let me ask you. Was that was not your first church of serving? You served other churches before, is that right?
So yeah, I served at 2 other churches prior to Tongshin, EM, and but I served, you know, primarily as a youth pastor in those 2 churches.
Okay.
Yeah, 5 years at 2 other Korean American immigrant churches.
You had served already 10 years, before coming to Tongshin Church?
Yeah.
How old man are you?
I started early.
Wait, 12 years old, youth pastor? My gosh, man.
Pretty much, right?
Wow.
With my first youth ministry.
Wow.
The oldest kids were only like 3-4 years younger than me.
They were still younger though.
Yeah, they were still younger. So
that's surprising.
Like 20, you know, barely 2021, you know. That's when I started as a youth pastor.
Did you start at Biola? Were you at?
Yes, I was a Bible major at Biola undergrad.
Oh,
so I started serving as a youth pastor my sophomore year.
As an undergrad. Okay, see, that would make okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. So I started a little early. When I didn't know much, and I still don't know much.
No, but yeah, I beg to differ. I think you got your eyes on the ball. That's for sure.
So 10 years of youth ministry, which I still have a big passion for the youth.
That's awesome.
That's like me personally, I encountered Jesus in that deep way in my youth, right? So I have that heart for the youth. So I spent my first 10 years of ministry for the youth, focused on them. And then Tongshin was my first like focus on non-youth, college and above, adult ministry. Yeah.
Same for me. Those were good times, man. I really enjoyed the campus. I love the octagonal shape of the main sanctuary.
It's a cool building.
It is. So you were there for 6 years, which is actually, as far as longevity for English ministry pastors, that's, I think, above average, well above average. Yeah. So now I learned that you were when did you conceive in your heart that you wanted to be a church planter? Yeah. And then like the process of going through NAMB, I would love for our viewership to kind of get a little window.
So NAMB, which is under the Southern Baptist Convention, right, is the North American Mission Board. And under NAMB, there's Send Network, which is focused on church planting.
Okay.
So church planting, the NAMB's main, way of doing missions in North America is church planting, basically. So I went through Send Network, went through the whole assessment. And it was actually through the assessment that kind of encouraged and pushed my wife and I to think back on our own calling as church planters. And what I kind of forgot, I was able to remember. So the first time I actually thought about planting a church or being part of something like that was actually 11th grade.
Oh, when
I was in 11th grade.
Oh wow, when you yourself were in youth group.
Yeah, so I was still a youth, and like 11th grade is when I like encountered Jesus very personally, right? And actually 11th grade or 12th grade, somewhere there.
Were you was it like a church here in LA?
It was no. So I was born here, but I spent my teenage years in Korea. So I was still in Korea during the time.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So From third grade elementary to 12th grade, I was fully in Korea. Yeah.
Wow. Did you go to like a missionary school or did you?
No, fully Korean school. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, that's where I became a fob, you know.
Oh wow. That's why you're fluent in both.
Yeah,
Man,
yeah.
so God bless you that way.
Yeah, looking back,
Wow.
I mean, I'm thankful that I could understand both cultures and language and all that. You know?
That is a blessing.
Yeah.
We're both bicultural.
Yeah.
I don't know if you would consider 1.5, but since you were born here, not really 1.5, right?
Yeah, I'm a weird one, you know.
You'd be like
you're a triculture though.
I'm a tricultural. Yeah.
We're like the third culture kids, right?
We're definitely third culture. Yeah. That is awesome. Wow.
So yeah, it goes back to 11th grade. I kind of just had this desire of like, wow, Lord, I want to see kind of a really vital, fresh, you know, healthy kind of church.
Yeah.
And back then I thought it was Daegu because that's where I was, you know, I was in Daegu during the time.
Really?
And growing up, yeah, you know, I just.
Do you have Saturi?
I can use Saturi very well. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's another surprise. I didn't know about that. I'm learning a bunch of new things about you today.
Yeah.
Daegu Saturi.
My dad's from Saturi, my mom's Seoul, right? So I can do both.
So your father's from Gyeongsangdo originally.
From Gyeongsangdo.
Okay. Yeah, I think I would have remembered that. I would have remembered that from his speaking. Because you know, 손병열 목사님
he's
Gyeongsangdo Sanai.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That's right.
He's in Gyeongsangdo now, you know. Pohang.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Oh wow! So, so you conceive in your heart when you're in 11th grade. I want to be part of this adventure, the great adventure of planting His church. And then, when does this vision that you had early catch up with you later in life?
Yeah, that was very recent, you know. So I kind of forgot about that.
Yeah.
Just being faithful to what's in front of me, right? Like being a youth pastor, serving and discipling youth, and then being at Shin. And I think after my dad passed away 5 years ago, that's when I started really praying and asking for like guidance, because I think a lot of people kind of, you know, thought that it was my calling to immediately then go out and take over, you know, in a sense, the mission work.
Your father's legacy.
Is exactly that mission organization.
Yeah.
You know? And so, yeah, I think after my father passed away, my wife and I entered into a very long discernment process. I think it took 4 years of discernment.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we were praying for the future, you know, Lord, is it Africa? Is it Philippines? You know, is it the Mindanao, Philippines? Or is it back in Korea? Or what is it? You know, like we started asking the Lord, and there were moments where we didn't see eye to eye and our conversations would get intense, you know, like thinking about the future was sometimes very stressful and our hearts didn't align fully. But after about 4 years, we thought about going to another church, you know, this, that, and all these different options. Long story short, like after the pandemic, we seriously started praying more, you know, which was 2 years ago now already. Oh my gosh, it's a long pandemic. And then that first year of pandemic was kind of where our calling towards church planting was kind of confirmed and sealed. So when we thought about church planting here, my wife also, her heart was very excited and just like, she felt like, it just felt right in her heart. That's right, awesome. In prayer. Yeah. So for me, that was a huge confirmation, right? Yeah. Because when I said, honey, what about Africa? She's like,
not having malaria, dengue fever. No.
Yeah, no. So all the other things, you know, when we would talk about it or pray together, we didn't really align. But that was one of the core confirmations, right? Like both of our hearts were like super just life-giving and excited about this, you know, church planting, right? And so we kind of thought about what if we went to another church, or, you know, at one point I almost moved to New York, you know, because I thought I was going to go serve at another church there.
Oh wow.
We actually visited one day, you know, and everything.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we just felt like, okay, maybe it's not going to another church. It's more like starting a fresh expression of a local body, you know? And that's what we kind of felt, you know. And
I at the commissioning service, I noticed the artwork for the Well Church, the logo. It looked like a lotus flower.
Yeah.
Oh, is it a lotus flower?
No. So it's actually
It's a cross.
It's a cross in the middle.
Yeah.
But it's a well looked from like the top.
Oh.
So if you look carefully, there's like bricks on the side. It's like a circle. Yeah, and then there's a cross in the middle. There's a meaning to everything there. It's like there's water drops in the middle, and you kind of combine it with the cross. It kind of looks kind of like flowery or whatever.
Do you have somebody that did it, or did you?
My wife did.
Oh wow! You know, I was looking at it going, this looks like a lotus flower, which is it carries symbolism that's associated with Buddhism.
Yeah.
And then and I noticed that you're I was like, oh, this is a covert mission from God. He's gonna go infiltrate all the Buddhists in Orange County, and he's gonna turn them all Christian. You know?
Oh,
I'm sorry, I couldn't resist. I'm sorry. I could not resist.
Wow.
I just had to slide in. It never happens with other people. It just happened. We have good chemistry is what it is.
But I've never heard it look like a lotus flower.
A little bit. Yeah. When you
from.
look at it, you go, wow, that looks like a it's very approachable. I think I see the marks of what looks to be a very exciting new start. You know, just recently you moved to. You have a fixed location now. It's in Anaheim.
Yes.
We're very close.
Yeah.
Very close. Awesome. And okay, this may or may not be included in the final cut, but when you were leaving Tongshin Church, you had to bring some of your people. Now, I mean, earlier I said Pastor Daniel sent the army, you know, the delegates with Pastor Daniel. But how do you navigate? How do you navigate taking your disciples of Jesus that you've been together with? Because I mean, here's the thing. Now, I know that you've had very heart-to-heart conversations with your former pastor.
Yes.
That I love that. I love that you had that kind of a spiritual maturity and the courage to do that, because a lot of people would rather avoid that and just kind of, you know, sneak it past. Right? How did you come about? Is it because of the prayer or your integrity, your conviction?
It's by the grace of God for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like Pastor Beck and I both openly, you know, publicly admitted, right? Our relationship wasn't always happy and good, right? Even at the commissioning service. So
they both you guys both agree that, and everybody knows. No secret.
Yeah. It's not hidden. Okay. Yeah. Even at the commissioning service, he said something like, "We fought a lot too," you know, which is true. I think we.
Really?
Yeah. We kind of butted heads, and we had different, you know, disagreements and all that, and you know, it was pretty tough at times, you know, and it was tough for him. It was tough for me too, right? But I think staying together for 6 years did do something. You know, it's not a short time.
Yeah.
And towards the end of it, I think, there was an opportunity where actually, like about in November, so I came out at the end of April. So around like late summer or fall of that first year of pandemic, I started talking to him openly that I feel like, you know, my ministry philosophy and sense of calling might be a little different from yours. If we aligned, then I think it would be good for me to stay as the EM and we do this collaborative thing together. But I feel like, my color and calling is a little different, right? And I feel like maybe it's another church or maybe it's planting. So I started, you know, just openly throwing it out there.
Okay.
And then, so we started conversing, and I think he also accepted, admitted or agreed that, we are, you know, like probably it is a little bit different.
You initiated the dialogue, however, basically.
Yeah. Okay. And to be honest, when I was first bringing it up,
it was hard, huh?
Yeah. I was like, I didn't know what I was going to receive in response, you know, what if he gets angry at me or whatever, right? But kind of took a stab at it. And that's how our conversation started. And then I continued to pursue more towards the church planting route. Yeah. And towards the end of that, I started asking him, you know, like, you know, I'm not asking. Yeah, it was kind of a very complex kind of realm, to navigate, right?
Yeah.
Like it's like, so, if Tongshin, the English congregation, was already big, then I think I would have felt comfortable to ask, hey, can you like plant me out, and right? Because you guys are already established and big. But
okay,
yeah.
Now let me pause you for a second.
Yeah.
Let me ask you. That's this hypothetical situation, but would Pastor Beck be the kind of pastor that would consider that planting you out, so to speak? Would that be kind of registered in his radar as a possibility for?
I think so. He even says that for the KM right now, because the KM's already established, right? In terms of, in many ways, he would be comfortable with planting like a Korean church out. Oh, because the KM's
because they're like there's a almost like a surplus of number.
Exactly. Okay. Yeah, and they're financially stable and all that, right? So they'll be able to do that, and and they as a church they would still be able to continue healthily, right? Yeah. But to be honest, the EC wasn't at that kind of a place yet, right? And so, it was kind of hard. So it was hard for me to ask like this full-on bless me and send me out. But at the same time, I had to be true to my calling. So I shared the vision and I asked him, I won't try to, take all these people or anything like that, but I do have this calling to plant somewhere in OC. And I was very open about it.
I just love the way you did it. I love the way you did it. I mean, from my point of view, it's like you did what Moses did. I mean, it's a hard thing to do to approach someone that you've been serving with, obviously had disagreements with, and then saying it, and you were not just only being diplomatic about it, but you're transparent. And that's so rare and it's so beautiful. I think it's so basic for Christians. But we don't. It's hard to come by. We don't see this happening as a normal rule. It's more like an exception. It is, So I wanna just praise God. Because of that. Because I heard about it. I go, wow, what a classy way to do it. Classy way.
Definitely is God's grace for sure. I just brought it up and he decided to bless me, forward. And and then practically speaking, like some of the members there, they also felt kind of called to plant this new church, and some others felt convicted to stay. That just kind of happened. And I heard Dongshin EM actually is doing really well right now, which I'm very happy. Like, I'm so happy. Doing really well. And like I really want to give credit to two of the leaders in the EM during the time that challenged me, though. Because I was kind of hesitant to have more of an open talk with Pastor Beck, because I was like, I've done my job, I'm just gonna leave now, but then these two brothers really challenged me, like you said, hey, but
oh wow!
And it's two of them, it's Victor and Sam, Mina's husband, Sam.
Oh man!
These two brothers, they really gently, lovingly, respectfully challenged me. They're like, aren't we pastor though, right? Isn't this what we preach? Like you said, the basic Christian character, and aren't we supposed to openly, talk about these things, and all that? And I told him I tried a lot, but it's hard, I think I did my part. I think I'm done. But because they said that, I said, you know what? Let me pray about it again. I thank you for your pure kind of input, So I prayed about it, and the more I prayed about it, I felt convicted. Okay, I have to talk to him,
So you mentioned two guys. Victor's with you. Sam's back there. That's so cool, man. You see his fingerprints all over this. This is like definitely man, the whole testimony of how it happened, it was really good. I was at the commissioning service and I watched the whole thing. It was really good. And now you're established, you have a fixed location where you're going to have the Sunday service. It's at I think I'll put the link up. You have your church website?
Yes, we have a website.
That's up, and then so we'll put it up there for our viewers to take a look and check out the OC the Well Church at OC. I was telling you earlier that I met another Daniel, another church planter Daniel that's copying what you're doing, man. He's calling it the Well, and he's up in Lomita, up in the Harvard, the South Harbor area. Yeah. And apparently you guys are like in the same sending network.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Cool. That's very exciting. I'm just really looking forward to see as far as your personal spiritual practices, like what are some things that you do that you can't do without? Like, what is your personal discipline that keeps you close to the Lord and to have the guts and the faith to move forward with church plant? What's the secret?
Yeah,
if there is one.
Yeah, with church planting, there's some similarities, but there's actually it's true that there's a different kind of pressure and sense of responsibility that comes, you know. And I was just talking about this with my other, planting pastor, like, wow, it feels right. Especially like last few weeks, we were transitioning to a new location and all the struggles,
uncertainties.
Kind of the weight's heavy, right? And so it's true. I think I can think of a few that keeps me grounded or rooted, when circumstances aren't so grounded, when the ground is shaking and moving,
when things are kind of up in the air.
A lot of moving pieces. For me, like every month I meet with a spiritual director.
Oh,
yeah.
Is this from NAMB or is it just on your own? You have your own personal.
Yeah. So his name is Ron, and I've been spending 1 hour a month with him. So every 4 weeks, just 1 hour with him. It's been a little over 2 years now since I've sat with him.
Oh, wow.
And so that's kind of like my monthly rhythm and practice, through that time, I kind of am able to search what's going on in my soul.
Would you say that Ron is like your mentor?
Yeah, a mentor.
Spiritual director.
A spiritual director,
Do you have other mentors in your life?
Yes. So, like John, I have another one. His name's John Rittenhouse. He's the one that did our premarital counseling and officiated our wedding.
Okay.
He's also a professor at Biola. That's how I met him.
Okay.
Yeah. So I haven't seen him in a while, but
yeah. Thoroughly Talbot. Biola Talbot.
Yes. Okay. Undergrad, MDiv.
That's awesome.
Now, so.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
It's that one well that you dug the well.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So that's one practice that it's been such a blessing for me.
Okay.
Because it's like a spiritual companion. Because sometimes in life it's so busy and I'm so distracted and there's all these tasks and I don't have enough time and wisdom or space. I forget about it to pay attention to what's going on and what God is up to and hearing his voice, right? So that 1 hour, like before that, I kind of pray about it too. I start like preparing my heart in prayer.
Yeah.
So that 1 hour it's become kind of like a monthly anchor, that kind of brings me back.
Wow.
Oh, okay, this is what's happening in my life and what God is up to. Then there's other like personal things, like for me, I like taking prayer walks.
That's awesome.
At the park,
Oh, wow.
In nature.
Do you have any particular location where I can go stop? Would you tell me?
Okay. It's a great location. Yeah. Then I enjoy journaling a lot. So I've been journaling ever since middle school.
Really?
Yeah. So you're definitely on and off.
That's awesome.
So if you come to my house, I have this clear like container with all the journals since middle school, actually.
Wow, that's very unique. I've never heard of anybody that had that kind of.
I mean, of course, in the middle, right?
I'm just like to interrupt.
Like in my youth years, after summer retreat, like every day, right? QT and all these things, and then like 3-month blanks, all that. But
that's awesome.
But it's kind of like my treasure box for me, right? It's kind of like it records my journey with the Lord, basically.
And is it like totally private where like even your wife would not dig through it, or do you have it
totally
like
open?
oh like people could read this?
They can. Like actually, you know what? Some of the parts are pretty dark and real, you know.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I
had a tough
pray
time.
to God, you know.
Yeah,
I tell God like,
yeah.
I probably cussed in there in the journals, you know, here and there. Right?
No way.
Yeah. I was like, God.
Oh,
you know, that's a very real thing.
Wow.
You know? It's
that's actually unexpected and kind of refreshing. I mean, you know, like because you know, pastors have these unrealistic standards that were somehow bulletproof. No, some pastors are actually more sensitive than the average Joe, I think. You know, pastors are sometimes called because of their sensitivities that other people do not possess. I wanted to learn a little bit more about the actual preparation process. Now, when I first got called into the ministry, I was aspiring sort of a missionary because I mean, like that's really all I knew. My formation was mission and more specifically mission to those who speak Spanish because Spanish is my second language. So, but the senior pastor that called me, he was very, I think he was sparing me because, you know, if they just dropped me off out there, I would probably, you know, it would have been a disaster. He said, you know, right now you're a new Christian, just learn the church first. And that ended up becoming more than 10 years. And I realized, and the full circle comes back to the realization that our own backyard is a mission field. Like it has turned that way. The culture is, I'm hearing this buzzword, post-Christian. Do you feel that SoCal is post-Christian?
I think definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
So the challenge is double. This is what Tim Keller actually pointed out, was that when you go to the other places, they're hearing it for the first time. But a lot of the people that we're preaching to, they've already heard it ad nauseum. Yeah. And they don't believe it anymore. They
feel like they know it when they actually don't know it, right? That's tougher.
It's huge. It's huge. Yeah. It's a very, very big problem. Yeah. So it's like a part of me says, do I want to keep like beating the dead horse here? Or do I want to just suck it up and go somewhere that they haven't even heard it before?
They're so ready to receive, right? And it's just, they'll soak it in, you know?
There is that, you know. And then there's the analysis where you go, what is it for you? Or is it for me? Or is it for him? You know, am I in it for my own gratification and my feeling of effectiveness? Or is it because, you know, it's a sacrificial path? Wow. So I'm really, really intrigued to know about how you started with NAMB and now the actual nitty gritty. I mean, without all the details, but if anybody wanted to, had the audacious faith to say, you know what, I would like to plan this well. How would a person go about like the financial resources, where to find the, because you have to have a plan, right? Like kind of like an immediate, would you say like 3-year plan on how it's gonna? Yeah. Would you just a little bit like a broad strokes?
I totally agree. I think definitely recommend not doing it from scratch by yourself, but being part of a network that supports
like NAMB.
Church, like NAMB, or I heard a few other ones, but like NAMB is one of the best ones for sure. You know, NAMB and Send Network, which is the church planting branch under the NAMB, of the NAMB. Right. And so they're so well prepared, you know, so they take you through initial assessment, which is pretty extensive. And they really want to make sure, basically, you know, it's not the scary thing. They're very supportive in assessing, right? Because they want to be encouragement and they want to help you really discern whether you have that calling or not, right? And they're not God, but they're trying to help you discern, you know, through that process. Both husband and wife, right?
Very important
together.
Very important.
So my wife and I both went through, you know, answered so many questions. We did a 360-degree, like, you know, you need to find 6 different people to give you feedback from all different angles. Right? It's very extensive. And then, once you kind of go through the assessment, they either give you a green light, yellow light, or red light. You know, red light is like kind of maybe perhaps it's not your calling. Yellow is like it might be,
have to wait a little bit, mature a little more,
work on maybe 1 or 2 things. And then green light is it's not like you're perfect, but okay, we do sense within the next year or year and a half, you can get ready and plant, you know? So you still have work to do for sure. But okay, I think within the next year or year and a half, right?
Is it safe for me to assume that you got the green light?
Yeah. So
okay.
That's
okay.
By the grace
of
God.
That's awesome. Yeah. I mean,
we received the green. We were so happy. You know, my wife and I were very happy.
That's awesome.
Very thankful.
Yeah.
So, and then we get endorsed, and like Send Network does a really good job in helping church planters learn how to church plant, basically, right? They even support financially.
Okay.
Yeah, they have like a 4 to 5 year plan.
Okay.
First year a certain amount, second year increases, and then third year goes back down. So there's a science behind it, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
You know, the amount you're gonna need in your church planting journey. They take care of, you know, spouses very well. You know, they send gifts. They also have seminars and conferences and training. Right now, I'm enrolled in a 1-year training. So I have a little cohort with 5 other church planters.
That's awesome.
In OC and you know, all these places. And then every other week we meet and we have a teacher that teaches us, you know, the different kind of aspects of it, right? In leadership and this or that. And so it's really, you know, it's you get like financially, relationally, right? Ministry wise,
support.
All this support and equipping, actually.
It almost sounds like there's a group of investors, like board of trustees, that want to scout the talent. But if they're going to invest and pour into you, they want to know that their candidate is going to be successful, because, you know, you don't want to set anybody up for failure. So it sounds really solid. I love just what you shared. That's really, really awesome. I had no clue. I heard of groups like Exponential and things like that, where they kind of rally you up. And I don't know if they have it as well designed and well, but the preparation process is not you're just alone. There's like to-do lists that they give you, and that's cool.
Okay. It's very well prepared, to the point where some other denominations, they ask SBC to actually assess their planters for their denomination. Like, for example, the Friends Church, I think, you know, they do that, right? They kind of like, because they don't have their own developed system, right? They kind of do it through SBC.
So now we're talking interdenominational. You know, I don't know if this is even a moot issue or even a profitable discussion, but the Mormons, the Latter-day Saints, their missionary program is amazing. Isn't it though? I mean, like, seriously, if they only had the right doctrine, that would be awesome. Man, like 2x2, just so biblical. They get trained like for 6 weeks or something in the intensive language program. And they just get dropped off, and they're at 18, 19 years old for 2 years. It's crazy.
It's something that we gotta learn.
I don't know. I mean, I think the SBC probably has. It sounds to me like SBC has something that definitely at par or even better, much better. So we were discussing while we were having lunch, but you were talking about maybe going and becoming, would you be a denominational church later on? Would you be a full-fledged SBC? Are strings like that attached, first of all? Like, do you have?
So I don't know. SBC itself says, you know, that they're not necessarily like a denomination, right? They're called the Southern Baptist Convention.
That's right.
So it's like a network of churches.
That's right.
Yeah. So we are definitely part of Send Network and also SBC. We're registered under the SBC.
We
have our 501c3, you know, tax exempt status through the SBC, actually.
I see.
So we're fully planting under Send Network and SBC. But I think I love SBC and Send Network and NAMB because it's just so kingdom minded and missional. You know, they don't like require you to, like, you know, you have to put it in the front of your paper, you know. So it's not about like we're Southern Baptists or something like that. It's more about like, let's bring the gospel and reach as many people as we can, right? And so
man, one of my past guests on this podcast was Philip Hahn.
Oh, Phil Hahn.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw that episode, but man, he had high praises for you.
Oh,
yeah. He was like he said that you were one of the most influential for his choosing the path. And I was like, man, that's awesome. That's awesome that he had that time with you. How long were you
Phil Han?
Yeah,
with Phil Han.
At least 3-4 years,
something like that. Yeah.
Good kid.
Yeah, I love him.
Yeah, such a nice.
He's doing well in this D right now,
Yes. Turns out that the church you went to is a good church too.
Yeah.
Calvary Church in San Diego.
Doing well.
Yeah. Any words of encouragement for, I guess, young would-be church planters or like young guys that would have trepidations? Maybe not even young guys, maybe like older folks like me. Yeah. I'm not exactly young anymore, but like if people were they had it. I mean, just earlier I was talking about Coffee House Church and Pastor Carol Crew and like, what would be something that encouraging that you would be able to impart upon the viewers if they had thoughts or like fancying, in that arena? What would you be able to say for them?
Wow.
Pray about it.
Go for it.
just do it, Nike.
Yeah. I mean, I think every generation, we always need churches. And new churches to reach new people, because like they say, there's still so many people that aren't reached, and the current existing churches, no matter how big or how small, whatever they are, they're not reaching certain other people. And so there's probably going to need new kind of churches to reach those people, right? So I feel like, and that's the whole, I think, one of the core phrases of Send Network. It's planting churches everywhere for everyone. So I think I agree with that, so I would definitely love to see, more of these churches reaching different people, and like for me, I felt that calling where instead of going to another church, planting would be fitting. And that's God's calling for me, because I think for us, we wanted to experiment with kind of a new culture, a very at the core of our church, it's actually discipleship and spiritual formation. So we really want to become a church that does that well. And it comes from the conviction, from Dallas Willard, actually, very shaped by Dallas Willard.
Okay.
Where, he wrote a book called The Great Omission.
Okay.
Yeah, which is
next to The Divine Conspiracy.
Yeah, those books.
Sure.
Where he's saying that the church has, in a sense, not been doing the best job. We've maybe grown in how to reach the unchurched and get them through the doors of a church and get them become a member and dunk them in the water and follow a prayer. But have we really called them to be disciples, right? In many ways, we've called them to become converts and churchgoers, but are they intentionally walking with Jesus and transforming into his likeness, right? So that part, I feel like it's a subtle shift, but a very profound shift. And I felt convicted that it needs to happen in a new church planting context, because it has to happen from every layer of the church leadership, and everything we do has to be focused around that, so that's our attempt. We're still experimenting and everything.
So that would be something that is unique about the Well Church is that it is focused on intentional discipleship and spiritual formation.
Yes.
That is awesome. It's a deficit for sure in the current climate of the churches. I mean, I don't want to badmouth any churches, but what I'm saying is there is a definite necessity to ramp it up. The discipleship. I feel every church could benefit greatly from. Now, in the actual discipleship process, the two things that pastors always emphasizing: pray and the Word of God. Well, are there some other specific things that are in the tool belt of your know-how? I mean, are there some things what are some things that you would do in your particular process, in your specific, the Well Church? What do you guys do that?
So we have that clear vision,
Okay.
but the how to definitely we're still strategizing.
Okay.
But I guess there's a clear, more intentional focus. For example, let's say like Sunday worship.
Okay.
Usually we're used to listening, being inspired, and we leave the personal internalizing and application just up to the Lord in a sense, and to each person.
Yeah.
But we're so, in a sense, though, I think that disciples us into non-discipleship, right? We're discipled into non-discipleship, where we're used to not doing anything about it,
Right. It's just in and out the other.
Yes. Or it's
revolving door kind of.
More information, but not leading to transformation.
Yes.
Right? So the question is, how do we do that then? And so we're trying to like experiment, maybe adding this reflective, contemplative prayer time towards the end of the service.
Okay.
And that's one thing we start out with, we're trying to start. So we're trying to experiment.
Okay.
How do we, change and try different little things,
that's so cool.
To change the culture where it's a norm, where it's no longer the norm just to sit and go home, but to actually wrestle with it and see, if a truth was proclaimed, do I really, experience that as a reality in my heart? Or do I know it up here, but man, in my heart, it's so hard to trust in that truth, and why is it hard? And, wrestling with that, right? So we're trying to do that. We're also trying to offer like spiritual direction at our church. Okay. So it helps that my wife is a spiritual director, actually.
Is she, I mean, you obviously met at Biola.
No, I met her at my first ministry.
Oh, at the church?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And then later she joined that Talbot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we're trying to be very intentional where people, because sometimes people don't know where they are on the journey, and they need guidance and help. So to be a church that offers that spiritual direction readily, where you can come and sit one-on-one, and kind of explore where you are and how you can mature into Christ-likeness, So these kind of things, we're trying. And I started talking about that because not saying that every church, I guess coming back to that question, like for, maybe potential church planters, right? Like if you feel like, I guess you have that unique, I don't know, desire, right? Kind of a fresh expression of planting a church or a new culture. That would be much better at a plant instead of going to an already existing church. Because when you go to an already existing church, there's already a long history usually and a culture that is set, right? And so I think to change that is a different calling than to do something fresh, right? So I guess it has to do with like how you're wired.
In some ways, it could even be more difficult.
Exactly.
To try to change a church culture that's been established for like the last.
Difficult, actually.
It could be like a losing battle almost from the very beginning.
You can go at it for 20 years and maybe go like 5 centimeters, I'm not saying that that's bad. I think that's a particular calling, right? So I guess it's all about finding and discovering and discerning what your exact shaping and calling is and what fits best for you, right? And for us, it was the planting.
now let's talk a little bit about your family. Okay. Do you find that as a church planter, you are able to intentionally put more time in with your family? Let's talk about your kids. How many children do you have?
2 kids. Aiden is in 3rd grade.
Okay.
No. 4th grade.
Aiden is 4th grade. Okay, I'm gonna edit that one. I'm gonna edit that part. You know what? I was reading a book on spiritual leadership. I was reading a book on spiritual leadership. Turns out that there was a time when Billy Graham was so busy that he came and saw this child, and said, "Who is this child?"
No way.
He was his own child.
No way.
Yeah, I mean, I read that. I was like, no, this is like gotta be legend. It can't be. It can't be. It can't be true.
Wow. Yeah,
but
that's legend.
Yeah, because he was like on the road all the time with his wife. But anyway, Aiden, who's the 4th grade.
4th grade now.
4th grade. Wow. And so 9?
10.
10.
Yeah. Oh, wow. And then Rena is 7. She's in 1st grade.
Boy and girl.
Yeah, boy and girl.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And been married for how many years?
This June will be 12 years.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Wow. That's amazing.
Years, wow, time flies. But yeah. Actually, I mean, in the past month or past couple of weeks, it's been a roller coaster for me personally. And
because of
so
the
the transition
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
location
sure,
and all
sure.
this,
Yeah.
the stress related to that, we've been having like 12 to 14-hour days, like, so I would leave in the morning and come back at night. And it was
yeah.
just intense.
Yeah.
But outside of those special kind of weeks,
Yeah.
I think definitely able to spend a lot of time with them.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
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 Enjoying watching the kids grow and
Mhm.
being part of it.
Yeah, I definitely want to grow in discipling them more intentionally. Because I hear, bar mitzvah, right? In the Jewish tradition, it's like 13, right?
Yeah.
Is when you become an adult, right? And
Yeah.
so Aiden's 10, I realized, wow. So I'm thinking like in the next 3 years, I want to be a little more intentional, spending one-on-one time with him, and
the rites of
build
passage,
that foundation, Yeah.
to manhood, usher them into manhood,
Yeah.
which is they I mean, in the recent in the media sound bites, the with the whole race relations and all of these things, the problem is identified and isolated to fatherlessness. A lot of people that are struggling. It's a social problem is that there is not enough fathers being there and doing what they were expected to do. So I think that's really good that God has given us families to lead and be trying to bring them closer to Jesus, right? Yeah.
I have a lot of fun with them. Yeah.
With
Aiden, I like playing we like playing video games together.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, Super Smash. I don't know.
I heard about it. Yeah. Our pastor talks about Super Smash.
Yeah?
He says that we want to bring that into the church and like all of us doing it as an activity with the youth group kids, and I don't know what it is. I have no idea.
It's pretty fun. Yeah. You should give it a try. He's getting better though. He beats me many times now. So,
oh really?
Yeah.
Wow. That is so cool. Yeah. So
that's so cool.
Yeah. But it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed talking to you. We haven't really had a time of just conversation like this, really. I've only really been able to talk to you on 2 other separate occasions while we're having a meal, once with my whole family when you still have hair, and then just recently with my wife when we went to Lucille's over there, just before you stepped out of the old church. So I want to say God bless you on your journey. Thank you so much for coming in and doing this interview. I hope it was as fun for you as it was for me.
I had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I hope so much. I'm honored to be here.
Oh my gosh, man, the pleasure is all mine. I hope that you guys had a good time watching our interaction too. He's the real deal, this guy. I love Pastor Daniel. I'm a great big fan, and I really hope to see the Well Church just grow and be like a major influential church, a resource church for the Southland.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you so much for that blessing.
Thank you, and may I want to just keep hearing good news, and let's see where the Lord takes you guys. Amen. Amen. Okay. And then this is where we go boom boom, and then the music outro. Yeah.